Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 5G notes on measuring the spread of data. Okay? At the end of this, you should be able to understand what the range, the upper quartile, the lower quartile, and the inner quartile range is and how to find all of these things. Okay? So, let's start off with what the range is. Okay? The range, just as a quick review, is, remember, it's the maximum data value minus the minimum data value. Okay? So, taking a look at that, example 14 from page 141 says find the range of the data set. Alright, now all we really need to do is find the biggest number and subtract the littlest number. So biggest number in here looks like it's 9, and then our smallest number in here looks like it is, there's a bunch of 3's, I don't see any 2's, so we have 3. So 9 minus 3 gives us 6. So the range is 6. Alright? Okay. So with that, let's take a look at some other stuff here. Alright. Now the median divides the data into two halves, and then remember when we're finding our quartiles, each half then is divided again in half to make the quarters. So there's 4 different equal pieces. There's some specific names for each of those. The middle value of the lower half is called the lower quartile, and then the middle value of the upper half is called the upper quartile. So to show you what I'm talking about, we've got some data here. We're going to find the lower quartile, the median, and the upper quartile. Alright, so again, you always want to find, it's easiest to cut it in half and then cut it in half again. So we want to find the median first. So we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of data. So you take 10 divided by 2 and you get 5. So this means there should be 5 pieces of data on the lower half up to here, and then 5 pieces of data on the upper half. So right here is the median. Okay, it doesn't go right through a number. It's going to be the average of these two numbers here. So the median is going to be 6 plus 6 divided by 2, which we hopefully have all figured out that the median is going to be, in this case, 6. Okay. Now, to find let's take a look maybe at the lower quartile first. Here's our median right here, so that means the lower half has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. So if you take 5 and divide it by 2, you get 2.5. So there should be 2.5 below, 2.5 above, which basically means if you cross off that half, you go 1, 2. There's 2 numbers below and there's 2 numbers above, so that means that 2, this number right here, is going to be your lower quartile. Alright, and then the exact same thing with the upper quartile. There's 5 pieces here. 2.5 are below, 2.5 are above, so really that means 2 are below, 2 are above, and that number that's in the middle there is the upper quartile. Alright, so that's your how to find the lower quartile and the upper quartile, and of course the median. Alright, so far on the last example we did what the range is. We just figured out how to figure out the upper quartile and the lower quartile. And now we're going to take a look at the inner quartile range. Alright. So, inner quartile range is simply the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. Kind of almost how you have the regular old range is the highest number subtract the lowest number. The interquartile, inter meaning between the two quartiles, range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. Alright. So with that, let's take a look at an example, and that's example 16 from page 142. Here's the interquartile range right here is part D. We're going to find the median, upper quartile, and lower quartile, because you have to have the quartiles to find the interquartile range, right? And you have to have the median to find the upper and lower quartile, so it's kind of nice that they make us do all that anyway. So, here is our data set. We're going to find all these things here. So, again, before we can find the median or quartiles, we've got to arrange all of this in order. So let's do that. smallest number I see there is a 2, and there's just one of them. The next one is 3, just one of those also. And then again, I really suggest crossing them off as you go so that you don't forget any. So there's 3 4s. 1, 2, 3 4s. 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5s. And then let's see, 6s. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 6s. And then 7, we just have 1 7. And then we have 2 3 8s. And then we have 2 9s. And again, as you can tell, I've crossed every number out so that I know that I've covered everything down here, so that makes my life a lot easier. So, median. We need to we need to find the median, so we got to figure out how many numbers we have. Just one quick note, I've also seen people, before finding the median, what they'll do is they'll just start counting off. I'll just show you this here, and this might be helpful. I've seen people just start counting in from the end, so they'll just cross numbers off of each end. So they'll cross 1 off each end there, and then they just kind of keep going and taking 1 off of each end until they end up in the middle. Only thing I don't like about that is if you lose track, then then you don't know, you might not remember exactly where you're at. So these 2 would be the middle one. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of that, so I'm going to do it the other way, where I'm just going to count them and then divide. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 pieces of data. Right? So we take our, there we go, sorry. So we've got our 20 pieces of data, divide that by 2, and we should have 10. So we should have 10 on the left, 10 below, and 10 above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's our 10th number. So right here is our median. I keep doing that, sorry. Median. Excuse me. So for part A, to find our median, let's see, let's do these all over here. So the median is going to be 5 plus the average, it's going to be the average of 5 and 6, which gives us 5.5 is our median. Okay. For part B, our upper quartile is going to be what we have here. So again, we have 10 pieces of data. Divide that by 2, and we have 5. So we want 5 below and 5 above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right here is going to be our upper quartile. Oops, I was supposed to do lower quartile first. I did C first, but that's right. Upper quartile. So for part C, upper quartile is going to be the average of 7 and 8, which gives us 7.5. Okay. The lower quartile is going to be, and again, there's 10 below here, so we want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the lower quartile is going to be between the 4 and 5. So lower quartile is 4, and the average of 4 and 5, which gives us 4.5. So now that we have the lower quartile and the upper quartile, we can now calculate what the inner quartile range is, and again that's just the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. So we take 7.5, we subtract 4.5, and we get that the inner quartile range, inner quartile range is 3. Alright, so that deals with our inner quartile range. Okay, and we were able to find all those. Again, median, lower quartile, upper quartile, and then here's our inner quartile range. So 4.5 to 7.5. Alright. And then one last thing to take a look at is we're going to actually make our own cumulative frequency graph for the following distribution, and then we're going to determine the inner quartile range of that. Okay, so our cumulative frequency graph. So you know what, we really probably should include that on our goals. Okay, so be able to create a cumulative frequency graph. Okay, so that's our second thing that we really want to be able to do. And so again, we've got draw a cumulative frequency graph for the following distribution and then determine the inner quartile range. Okay, so again, this is copied off of page 144. So really what we want to do is we want to know how many total frequencies there are here. So we want to add all these up to see what we've got.
Andrew, to the office, please. Andrew.
Alright, so let's add our 3 and 11, 25, 36, 31, and 14. And we get 110, except for, look, I put 3 plus 1 instead of 3 plus 11, so let's add 10 more to actually, it should be 120. Alright, so all of these add up to 120. But what we really want to do here with this cumulative frequency graph, we want to know what these totals are as we add them up. So we've got the frequency here, and what we really want to know is we want to know the cumulative frequency, so the total as we're going. So the cumulative frequency here is the first one, you only have 3, so the cumulative frequency for this next one is 3 and 11, which is 14, and then this next one we would take what we just already have is our 14 plus 25, which gives us what, 39, and 39 plus the next one, which is 36, gives us what, 75. 75 plus 31 gives us 106, and then 106 plus 14 gives us 120, and that's kind of a nice little double check that we did our math right here because these numbers match. Okay, so cumulative frequencies. So the biggest number we have here is 60. We want to put our scores down here on the bottom. So let's do this, scores. And we want to be able to go up at least to 60. We have 20 across here. So really to kind of try to figure out what we want to do with that, let's do this. Let's take 60 and we divide it by 20 and we get 3. So each group here should get, let's see, for each 10, and this goes by tens here, we should go up 3 each time. So this here is going to be 10, or basically up to 10 here. It's really at 9.99, but we'll call this here 10. And then 1, 2, 3 more. This will give us 20. You want to try to use it. You have to use at least half of the graph that you're provided, especially when you get to the IB tests and stuff like that. That's part of the thing. You have to use at least half the graph they give you. So the more of the graph that you can use, the better off you're going to be. So 20, 1, 2, 3. This could be 30, because you really could do, like, say every 2 would be 10, and then 20, 30, but you just wouldn't use as much graph, so I'm going to go by every 3. 40, 1, 2, 3 more is 50, 1, 2, 3 more is 60. Alright? So, now with that, we want to, this here has to go up to at least 120. Right? And again, we've got 20 of those. So really we should probably just go by tens, right? So 10, 20, 30, 40, let's call this 50. And then this is 100. And then let's see, this is 150. We won't need that because we really only need to go up to 120. Okay, so this here is our, let's see if I can write sideways here, our cumulative frequency. That's supposed to be an M. Close enough. Alright, so now all we do here is at 10, we're up at 3. Okay, so here's our 10, and that only goes up to 3, so that's going to be a point that's going to be, let's use a different color. Let's do orange here for our graph. So we're at 0 to begin with, and then at 10 we're up to 3, and then now when we get up to 20 we're up to 14. So 20 we're now up to 14, so there's another little point right there. At 30, because 29.99, that's 30, we're up to 39, so that's basically just under 40, right? At 40 we're up to 75. So that's about right there. 50, we're at 106. So that's that one there. And then at 60, we're at 120. So there's 100 and, oops, wrong spot. There we go. There's our 120. Okay. So we're drawing a cumulative frequency graph and then determine the interquartile range. So here's our, to draw our graph we really need to connect our dots. Alright, so there's our cumulative frequency graph. And if we just want the interquartile range, we just want to find, we've got 120 pieces of data, right? So what we need to do is we need to find the 75th and the 25th. So let's do this. Let's take our 120 total pieces of data and break it into 4 equal pieces, right? So every 30 on our cumulative frequency graph should be 25% of our data. Alright? So with that, 10, 20, 30, that makes this nice and easy. So what we want to do over here, on that is go over here at 30. And it looks like we hit right about there, which gets us down to, well, it's kind of hard to tell. It looks like about 17-ish or so. But let's double check here.
Okay, so sorry, that is not, obviously that's not 16, that's 26, right around 26 or so. Okay, so let's do this, let's do our lower quartile is about 26,
the upper quartile is going to be 30 down from 120. Right, so we take 120 minus 30, and that we're looking for the 90th score. All right, so our 90th score is right here. So heading over, we're about, looks like we're about right there. Ooh, gosh, that is so. Gee, that looks like about 45 or so. So the upper quartile is about 45, and again, this is just fairly rough. We're just gonna have to go with it. So then we take the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, gives us our inner quartile range, right? So in this case, we do 45 minus 26. This gives us 19. So the interquartile range is about 19. All right, and that's all there is for this. So we've gone over all these things here. You should be able to understand the range, upper quartile and lower quartile, and the interquartile range. Understand what all those are, and then how to find all of them. We've done that. And then we also added in our be able to create a cumulative frequency graph, and that's what we just did here. And then also from that cumulative frequency graph, we figured out what the interquartile range is. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thanks.